Hi, welcome to Dungeons and Dyslexia. My name's Adrian, and today I've got a book that has really excited me, and I want to go through it. It's finally arrived after, I think, nearly a year of waiting. If you're a fan of the channel, you will be aware that I ran the Dungeons of Drakkenheim campaign. It's a year odd of my life and my players' life. We all loved it. The campaign is amazing. It's a really badly laid out book, by the way. Go and watch my review, buy a copy, run the game for your players. Everyone will enjoy themselves. So I instantly backed their next Kickstarter campaign, which was this. And this is Sebastian Crowe's Guide to Drakkenheim. Is it a better book? Is it a better laid out book? More importantly, I think, what Monty and Kelly have done with their first book. I'd say it was great for us and great for our players. But now this has finally arrived. What I want to do is review and go through with you the actual book. So I'm not going to go through this. I'm going to go through the PDF so we can actually have a look at it together. So I'm just going to share my screen and then we'll take you over to the book. I've held off doing this because I haven't been doing this channel for very long, so I don't know when you receive a PDF, can I actually go through the PDF before people have got physical copies? I don't know. If you know in the comments below, let me know. Because there's other books I've bought of Drive Through RPG that actually aren't out yet till sort of November, December that I'd like to do sort of run through and reviews of, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be stepping on toes. So here we go. So Sebastian Crowe's Guide to Drakkenheim. What we'll do is we'll flick to the back of the book so we know this is Sebastian Crowe. So this book itself, it's the world book for Drakkenheim. I'm not gonna. Can I do it without spoiling the game too? Yes, I can. I can do it without spoiling the adventure. In this book, it will discover the law and the people of the land. It will discuss more about the different worlds and the different territories on the island itself. Drakkenheim, the city was hit by a meteorite 15 years ago in this world that sort of obliterated the city, and it's put this sort of purple mist, this delirium fog over the city that's killing and mutating others. It's pretty much killed everyone and mutated people that are there. So you can't actually live in the city, but also the rock is now moving out through the island and people are using it for different devices, and it's corrupting everyone else as well. This book will just flesh out the world. The campaign itself is based in one city, and you will stay there from first level all the way to 13th or 14th level. I think we took the players through, and this just allows you, if you want to create players from different areas or actually run adventures in different areas of the world. There's new subclasses. There is a new class, the Apocryphy, which is amazing. So if you're a fan of, should have said, yeah, but just explain. Runs on 5th edition rules. So it's 1 through to 20, and the Apocryphy is their own branded character class that they've created from the ground up. And there's 3 different unique subclasses for it. They've got tool feats and new spells as well. There's lots to be excited in this book. I hope you agree. Okay, so let's get into the book. Opening cover, they did this on the Dungeons of Drakkenheim book as well. The inside cover was the map of the city. So here we've got a map of the world of Drakkenheim. So Westermar is where it's set, and Drakkenheim city is here. You've got Caspia, which is a rival land, Illyria over here, the 2 main other factions. And then you've got like the Netherworld at the top, Treen down here, the Middle Seas, the island of Guy, and the Isles of Skye. The book nicely covers all of the areas and gives you a bit of adventure ideas and sort of characters and classes and clans that are in the area. Credits, obviously, this is written, well, not obviously, you wouldn't know that, but this is written by Monty Martin and Kelly McLaughlin. They have probably about 5-6 years now that they've been running their YouTube channel and podcast of the Dungeons of Drakkenheim, which then inspired the book. Contents. Book runs out to 234 pages. So starting chapter 1, obviously, when you're looking at the world, then you've got chapter 2, the Continental Gazier, which then covers most of the lands, the different areas, the city, the factions that are in there, all the way through. Then you get into the characters, and then it'll give you a load of unique NPCs, different character classes that you can play. Sorry, the NPCs, I think, are back in this section. Get to the fantastic Apocryphy that that is there. And then you've got each of the main classes in 5th edition have got one, maybe two different subclasses that are unique to this world. You've got then all the spells, a load of unique monsters, and then the non-player characters at the end, and then the rules on Delirium. So Sebastian Crowe's letter, just an introduction to the book. I'll let you read that when you've got your copy. Using this book, so things that you'll find. So you've got the three main chapters, so Continental Gazier, the Drakkenheim characters themselves, and then the magic of Drakkenheim. There is a content warning. This is a violent, bloody, murderous world that has cannibalism, body horror, mutations, etc. So if you're going to run the Drakkenheim campaign or run your own adventure based on this book, have a session 0 with the players, sit down, discuss with them, make sure they're not going to be squeamish, or if they are sort of squeamish players, this might not be the game for you, or you might have to just adapt the content and how you're going to run it. I would say hopefully allow the players to play it how it needs to be intended, but you might be able to adapt it out slightly. Realms of conflict. The three main areas of Westermar, Illyria, and Caspia have been on and off at war for centuries. And the thing that basically stopped the war was the Edicts of Lumen. The Edicts of Lumen is a treaty that was run in the city of Lumen itself, which is the capital of Illyria. And it basically took away the power of the Mageborn. The Mageborn are your wizards, warlocks, sorcerers in this world. So if you are any of those, you can't hold any positions of authority, you can't own any land or anything. So it's a way of keeping all the magic users away from the power. Weirdly, though, it has moved the power, especially in Illyria, to the more divine spellcasters. So it's kind of working against everyone else, but very much working for Illyria. In Drakkenheim, there are 5 factions. The factions are incredibly different. They have got different motivations, different end goals, and they play against each other and the players incredibly well. And it allows the players just to they're going to have to pick who they want to side with and who they decide they don't want to work for. So you've got the Hooded Lanterns. These are the professional ex-soldiers of the city that are defending the city. The Queen's Men are a bunch of scoundrels and thieves that are in the city trying to take advantage, steal stuff, and try and create a power base within the city. The Silver Order are a bunch of sort of zealot knights and paladins that come from Illyria, and they are the sort of front guard and the power that are trying to sort of destroy the city through divine spells and their... No, I'm not going to say that bit because that's a bit of a spoiler. So you'll find out when you run the campaign. Followers of Falling Fire are an offshoot of the Silver... No, it's not the Silver Order. The main religious sect, the Sacred Flame. So they've started their own religion, and it's... Obviously, the Sacred Flame aren't happy that a new religion has started. So there's a lot of conflict there, and the Sacred Flame are looking to destroy. So the Silver Order work for the Sacred Flame, so they're looking to destroy the followers of the Falling Fire. And the followers of Falling Fire have made their home, their holy shrine, which is Drakkenheim. And then you've got the Amethyst Academy. These are the people, that's the magic users that have been affected the most by the Edicts of Lumen. They're not allowed any power, yet they are possibly some of the strongest and most powerful people on the island, or islands, or continent is probably the best thing. Mageborns. Most Amethyst Academy are... So most of the Mageborns go to the Amethyst Academy. I kind of think of it like the Jedi Order. You know, you find out your child is magical and that yoink, you can come and live with us forever, which... Is that good? Is that bad? I kind of don't think the Jedis are the good people in the Star Wars films. And I think the Mageborn, because of that very nature, are probably very similar. But obviously the Edicts of Lumen just stop them having any form of power. The religion in the world, there is only now one religion, which is the Sacred Flame. They have got, well, obviously you've got the Falling Fire, which is the brand new religion that's sort of moving against the Sacred Flame, but all of the old gods and the old ways have pretty much died out. There are a few sort of small factions that follow some of the lesser gods, so to speak, but it's all a bit sort of hush hush. No one admits to following other gods here because the sacred flame will come and murder you. So one religion, really. Well, there's kind of two, and then more, but on the quiet. The continent itself. So you've got, so this covers, actually this section covers the history of the continent, so back into the old days, and then you've got the sorcerer kings. So this is what started the edicts of Lumen. The sorcerer kings were the powerful kings that were also magic users that used their magic to control other people, and you know, they used spells to destroy people that didn't believe in their ways, etc. And there's like lots of wars that went on. Then the divine spellcasters basically rose up to fight against the sorcerer kings, and there was the sorcerer king battles and wars that went on for years, and then finally they managed to get peace through the edicts of Lumen, which are the set of rules that stops the sorcerer kings, well, from ever having sorcerer kings. So you've got the timeline here. So the current year is 1126, and it takes you back to sort of 10,000 years previously, and it'll take you through when the meteor struck in Drakkenheim. So here we go, 15 years ago, the meteor struck the city, and then everything in the continent kind of changed from there. And it'll just take you back to like the Isle of Skye is quite an important location for, again, don't want to spoil it, but it's, yeah, the Isle of Skye is quite nice. Also because it does actually, well, the Isle of Skye does exist, and I used to go there on holiday with my parents. We're then into the section with religion and gods. So the faith of the sacred flame is the main religion. It is a very much matriarchal society where all the females are in position of power and authority within it. Men aren't allowed to be things like the flame keepers or the high flame keepers. That's sort of like priests and clerics type class in this world. And then you've got the divine matriarch, which is the top of the food chain, so to speak. So she is the most powerful of the divine spellcasters. And I think, if I remember, she actually is a level 20 cleric. So it's, you know, obviously as you go up, they will become more powerful. You've then got, so obviously, different clerics. I say you have got a few of the lower classes within, lower classes, which tend to be male, which are your clerics, monks, and paladins. But let's say they don't ascend back into the realms of flame keepers and the high flame keepers, which are, they sort of run the chapels. We've then got the shadow cult, which is the falling fire, which is the new religion, which is deemed well, it's sacrilege to really follow it. The sacred flame will hunt you down if you are following it openly, and look to burn you, because they quite like burning people at the stake. Then the next section covers the old faiths and the old gods. So there are a few people that still follow them. Again, it's quiet. You keep it to yourselves. There are a few druids and monks and clerics in this world, and the odd warlock follows some of the old gods, but it's not popular, mainly for the fear of your life and the fact that allegedly they don't exist, but they do, because obviously, you know, a god only exists while it's got followers, and if people stop following a god, there is no god. But they obviously now have reintroduced some of the gods in here, and then it would talk about things of worship and the rituals that they go through. We've then got into the section of the 5 major factions of the continent. So the first one's the Amethyst Academy. These are, say, they're openly magic users, and they've got different towers and schools throughout the world, and they can transport from one tower to another. They're coming to their prominence because they want to use the delirium, which I'll come on to right at the end, which, well, the delirium's grown out of the fog, or the fog is creating the delirium. It'd be up to you as to discover that as the adventure goes on. But delirium is a mystical purple sort of glass shard. Actually, you can see it here, and this I was going to say painting in this, it's drawing art. Let's go with artwork. And it basically, if you put it into weapons or magical items, it enhances all the magic. If you use it to cast spells, you can make more powerful spells. The downside is it does corrupt you and mutates you. So the Amethyst Academy are looking at ways to use it to gain power, to create more powerful spells. Then goes to the different ranks within the Amethyst Academy, and then it'll also give you, is it this section that gives you some of the, no, it's later on. Yeah, here we go. You've got some here of the, so each of the towers are run by different archmages, and then it just gives you the archmages names here and a little bit about them. Covers then into the Edicts of Lumen and actually explains fully what it means. So it means obviously they made these articles ensure that mages do not face persecution when traveling in the continent. So they're free to travel where they want. They can use their spells how they want, but obviously they can't own, well, not obviously, but they can't own any land. They can't own any titles. So this is the bit about guardianship where they can take on people that have magic and basically bring them into, like, let's say, like the Jedi Order. You're coming to live with us because you did a spell. And it just, all the rules and guidelines, and if they don't follow them, then the Mageborns can be put to death. Everyday life. One thing I always dislike in games is when they create their own calendars and their own days of the week. Yes, it's nice. However, what I find is it's just one added level of complexity that the dungeon master doesn't need. Because people go, when are we going to meet? Oh, in 2 days' time. What day is that? And you're going, oh, it's Thursday. It's not Thursday, is it? You then got to flick the book and go, it's Earth Day. Just call it Thursday. You know, if you're going to go 365 days of the week and 12 months, I just think it's just something extra to worry about. And DMs have got enough to do without fleshing out months and days of the week. That's my first criticism. That's it. It's not a big one, is it, really? So it goes to the stars, the seasons, currency, education, crime and punishment, how all the magic systems work, and then you've got all the different settlements and religion, magic, militia in the world. You have got the other planes in here. So you've got the fairy world, the dreamland, elemental plane, shadowlands. There's not a lot of information in here. I'd imagine they've got other books to come out, but it does mean you can use the normal 5th edition books to use your own things on the planes as well. And then you've got the spaces in between the worlds, and then all the way over into thin planes, afterworlds, and the worlds beyond. And that is the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2, the Continental Gazier. This covers the lands of on the continent in a bit more detail. So Western Marseille is where Drakkenheim is. This is the main cathedral in Drakkenheim. Gives you the population, the capital, which is Drakkenheim, even though technically no one really lives there. And then the government of the area, the main religions, military, magic, trade, the history and the royal families. So these are the two cousins. These are the uncles, uncle and aunties, during the Civil War. And then you've got the Hooded Lanterns, say, are the faction that are protecting the city here. The Followers of the Falling Fire are there. You've got a little bit about the Queen's Men, and then we've got some new factions that are in and around the Drakkenheim, Western Marseille. You've got the House von Baden, House Kleinkessel, and then the Steelfang Mercenary Company. So it just adds a little bit more depth to the world. And then we've got specific mountainous locations, areas, towns, rivers to go through. And then what I really like about it is it also gives you adventure ideas, populations of cities, areas in there that are unique, places of worship, places that characters can go and visit. You've also then got rulers of the areas, the approximate population, and then details and adventure ideas, which will just help flesh out the world. Right at the final section of each of the words, you've got this, which is your adventures. So it gives you adventure hooks for the characters, and then some rumors that you can play out the characters to sort of bring them or move them over to the area or move them off one area onto the next. Couple of maps here, and then we're on to Illyria. So I'd say Illyria is ruled by the divine matriarch Mercy V, which I'd say it used to be. So if you think about the Edicts of Lumen, they should be the people in charge should not have any magical powers, but they've sort of destroyed. Well, the royal family is still there in Illyria. They're more of a puppet family now. They don't really have any power, and the Sacred Flame have pretty much taken over and ruled with an iron fist. So they have got the military, which is pretty much a silver order. And then obviously they've got some magic users. The Amethyst Academy are in Lumen, which is the capital city, but they're kind of kept in and controlled very much in there. So more details here about the Divine Matriarch Mercy, the fifth, how they rose to power, and then details of the Silver Order, who's in charge of the Silver Order and the ranks, details of the Amethyst Academy. And then we've got a few other houses, so House Reed, House Eden, House Poe, and then details. We're then into sort of locations again, just like in Westermar. Gives you an idea of populations, who's in control, how the cities work, adventure hooks and ideas, and again, the rumours. Map of Lumen, this is your big city. And then we're on to Caspia, which is the third of the major areas. Caspia still want to take over Drakkenheim. They're more of a military society, not really into having, there's not a lot of mage born and stuff in Caspia. They are say that they're more, boots on the floor, let's go and smash people with swords kind of society. That's pretty nice. There's the artwork throughout is good in this book. Kind of missing it out for some strange reason. So House Joplin, House Jackson, House Jones, House John, and then details of who's controlling the Amethyst Academy. And then again, we're back into the cities, the areas, who controls what, some adventure hooks in here, and some more rumours. The final part, after you've done the three main areas of the continent, we're just on the sort of more fringe societies. And this was part of the book that I liked because I'd read a fair amount about Illyria, Caspia, and Westermar. And it was quite nice because there are certain sections in the Dungeons and Drakkenheim book that talk about some of the areas, and you kind of have to sort of make it up and flesh it out yourself. But by having this book, it will allow you to talk about some of the other NPCs. You don't have to actually make people up. And you've got some of the actual locations in here, especially the Isle of Skye. There's a certain key part of the game that refers to the Isle of Skye, and it was quite nice to just have the Isle of Skye. And it's very much a Celtic world when you look at the Isle of Skye. So if you think back to sort of Celtic England in the sort of fourth century, somewhere around about there, all the way up to the sort of 7th century before the Vikings got here. And then covers, bits about the Amethyst Academy, and this is where the owls come from. So you have got different races in this game. It's not just humans. We've then got where we're over to now. So this is still some of the towns and cities of Isle of Skye. Say it's very much sort of Celtic Norse. This is inspired. We've then got Libertario, which is very much sort of Venice, Spain, and Italy inspired areas. You can even tell with House Enzo, which there's not a huge amount of details in there, but it gives you some plot hooks and a map of the city itself. Then we're into Terrain, which is a vast jungle area with a couple of houses to take some information from, details of the jungle and some of the rivers and the city itself. And then we're on Orleans, which is where the catfolk come from. So this is your sort of plains areas of the world. And here we go. You've got your big Lion King. And then Netherwind, which is my favorite area because being a big fan of Vikings and Norse mythology, it's ripped straight out of that. But I don't care. I do not care. It's very good. You've got sort of all in with your frost giants and your big wolf packs. And yeah, you can see the art. This is just Viking rip off, but I don't care. It's a fantasy world and possibly one of the most exciting and best areas there that you'd really want to take. Well, I'd want to take my players out to. Chapter 3, then we're looking at characters and a bit of the character creation. Personal quests. One of the best things about Dungeons of Drakkenheim is the personal quest rule. I have brought this into every game that I now play as runners as DM, and basically all the personal quests is it's a long-term quest that you give to a player. Well, the player tells you they're going to make. And sorry, so long-term quest is something that your players tell you they want to achieve. And when they achieve it, it's basically going up a mini level. You either get them to increase an ability by by two, or two abilities by one, or you give them a bonus feat. So it just gives them something to aim for as long term. Ideally, you want this to not be achieved quickly. You're probably thinking 15, 20, 25 sessions, something along those lines, or heading towards the end of the game. Don't make it something really easy, like, I really want to buy a banana. It needs to be sort of a family member has been abducted, and you need to just keep putting that further and further back, give them clues and sort of tease it along that it's coming, but don't let them achieve it in 5 sessions. Because once they've done it, then you should give them another one to work on. And you kind of want all the players to achieve it around about a similar time. Because I think there's, from a player's point of view, if everyone's achieved their goal and they've all got a bonus feat or something, you're going to feel like you're a little bit behind others, because feats in 5th edition are quite powerful. So people of the continent, we're looking then the humans, the history of the humans, and it will take you through elven descendants, the dwarfs, halflings, gnomes, goblins. You can pretty much play any race in this game that you want. So there are other uncommon races here. And it just says you should just work with the dungeon master and let them, tell them what you want to be, and then just discuss your background, because most of the commons are humans, elves, dwarfs, gnomes, halflings, goblins. Anything else, say that they tend to be the lesser races and, not very, very common. Just say, work with the DM. No DM's going to stop you from, well, they shouldn't stop you from playing a race if you've got a reason and it fits in with what you want. So the new character class that I love, the Apocryphy. This is your man or woman that basically will just take concoctions and potions and use them to make bombs, use them for healing, use them to throw them in battle. They can heal people. So they are I think they're a half caster, aren't they? So yeah, so they're not quite a full caster, so they only go up to 5th level, but they then work on theories as opposed to spells technically. And then your theories are a bit like warlocks powers, but they are prerequisites. Well, actually the same as the warlock, isn't it, where you've got to be prerequisites of certain levels, or you might have to have taken one beforehand. But yeah, it's just a way of having spells and then your theories on top, which I really like. Your full spell list here of the different spells they can take. Oh no, they're a full level caster. They can go up to 9th level. I missed that. I'm really sorry. Oh yeah, that's the spell slot. Sorry, yeah, they are a full caster, so they do go all the way up, and they can take True Polymorph and True Resurrection, which is always a good spell. But what you're not going to see here is Fireball and Lightning Bolt, but they don't need it because they are too busy polymorphing, stone skinning, cloud kill, raising the dead. There's chain lightning. There's mass heal word as well, so they can heal as well as cure wounds. These are going to be your healers as well as your squashing things and regeneration and bringing people back from the dead. So yeah, this is, but you wait actually till we get into the other class. So you've got the alienist. These are the ones that use that, so it's more of a mental, using knowledge to mess with people's minds, affect memories. So these are your sort of smarter, sort of bookwormy type people that use sort of a lot of manipulation. Got the chemist, which is your typical archetypical, let's make potions and bombs out of the concoctions that they can make. The exorcists are, as they sound, these will basically, they're basically good at exercising spirits and defeating the undead. Mutagenists they use mutations and mutate themselves through delirium to mutate themselves, transform into terrifying creatures, etc., and have like lots of extra attacks. The pathologists, these are the people that are trying basically to prevent the plague, and of course, and they're using it to sort of, I should say, try and prevent it from happening, but they're also using it for their own power. And then the reanimator is your Dr. Frankenstein. This is your, I'm going to take dead bodies, stick them together to create a sort of a pet that can come and play alongside me. Each then of the main character classes have, I say, between 1 and I think it's 2. There might be one that's got 3 of their own paths. So things like the barbarians got the haze rager, so they're very good at surviving in the haze and they just go absolute power crazy in the haze. So the haze is the name for the fog. I probably should have said that earlier on. So you got your own clerics, fighters, druids, monk classes. Paladins, I say, rangers have got their own, rogues, sorcerers, smugglers. So, and then finally the wizards. We've then got the section of loads. This is quite good actually, because you've got, I know in 5th edition you've got some tools and toolkits, but here there's a lot more, and then it just details. I'm using my finger, not my pointer, so different things that they can come in at and create a different level. So it sort of takes that toolkit to a slightly different level. You've then got your own spells within the world. They've added an awful lot from the main rule book. All of these spells will use delirium to sort of power up your character quite convincingly. The downside is you are going to take mutations, and the more you use them, potentially your character could die. But read them through, say some of them you can use. I really like it. We've then got some specific swords and seals from the area, and then we're into the incredibly fun and unique new monsters that are in here. Well, Strigger's not a new name of a monster, but obviously it is a new creature with its blood frenzy, and it gets to regenerate. So I think Monty and Kelly have spent a lot of time just sort of creating these incredible new, and the artwork, you've got artwork for each, which really helps. I think, like I say, there's nothing worse, nothing worse, but I don't like it when games create creatures and they go, and then you've got to kind of use your imagination, because you've got a little sort of loosey-goosey type description there, which can be a bit frustrating. So, but you've got an actual, you can see it properly. Then some unique non-player characters. So the surgeon, play doctor, minstrels, reavers, flame keepers in here, all the way through. Claw Strider Ranger, Silver Order. So it's got, and then we've got your legendary creatures. So your Rickard, Steel Fang, challenge rating 15, and the High Paladin Uriel Radley, which he's the main one from the Silver Order, and then someone from the Amethyst Academy. Look at that one. Is that a shapeshifter, or is she actually a dragon? She is a dragon. Okay, nice. And then we've got Divine Matriarch here, who's the head of the Falling Fire, not the Falling Fire, the Sacred Flame. And then the last couple of pages are on delirium. If you've got the main rule book, there is nothing new in here. If you haven't and you're just using this, so the shards of delirium are worth an awful lot of money. So there are people out there that will buy them. It gives you details of how much they're worth, how long it takes to mine them and extract it, the different uses from spell components to magic items to delirium dust. The effects of the haze on your character say you'll slowly corrupt your players. They'll be making corruption rolls every 24 hours they spend in the haze. The downside, you can't take a long rest in the haze, so you're never going to heal, so you need to come out of it. Arcane abnormalities of this. I love random tables of things that can go good or bad if you roll a 1 on a magic cast, or anything that sort of, there are certain areas where when you cast a spell you've got to roll because it's a more dangerous and more magical area. But then into lots of magical items. I say lots of 2 because there's an awful lot actually in the main book, and that's it. That is, and then there's another map at the end. So that's it. That's my look at Sebastian Crowe's Guide to Drakkenheim. It is very, very worthwhile. I'm very glad that I've got it. I actually think this is, well, it's a far better laid out than the Drakkenheim book. I say the Dungeons and Drakkenheim book, the adventure's good, but there's a lot of extra stuff you need to fill out and flesh out for yourself. But with this, you're pretty much good to go. You could take just this, and you don't need the Drakkenheim book if you don't want to go to the city and run it from there. Because I think the good thing about this book is You could just create characters that live in a different continent and then just have the shards of delirium coming into the area and slowly corrupting the villages and the towns, and then have the players have to deal with it from there without actually knowing everything that's going on in Drakkenheim, that what's actually happened with the haze. And you could actually, I think what I would like to do with a new set of players, or whether I use my own players and then I just have to sort of say that they can't use common knowledge of what's going on, is just start them in an area where you've got a farmer or a local mage that is coming in and they're sort of planting the delirium or using it, and then maybe the barn explodes or something goes on that then causes the corruption to start in that area, and then just slowly start corrupting everyone else. And then they can have to go all the way back to Drakkenheim to try and find the origins to destroy it. So yeah, it's a really good book. I'm really pleased I've got this. I think the Kickstarter for the Beast Guide has just finished, so you might be able to late pledge on that. Definitely jump on that if you like this, which I think you should. This is easily sort of 8.5 out of 10 for me. It's a brilliant book, and a huge, lots and lots of expanding on the original book, which I say, if you haven't got the original book, you don't need it. I would still have both if I was you. Go and get it. But if not, if you just want to run in their world with the delirium and everything that's going on, just get Sebastian Crowe's. If you can afford both, definitely get both. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm Adrian from Dungeons and Dyslexia. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.